Plutocracy is a form of government in which power is concentrated in the hands of the wealthy. The term comes from the Greek words plutos, meaning wealth, and kratos, meaning power or rule. In a plutocratic system, wealth directly or indirectly influences political decisions and leadership. Unlike democracy, where power is distributed among citizens, or aristocracy, where rule is based on hereditary privilege, plutocracy places wealth as the central determinant of authority and influence. While it is rarely formalized as an official system of governance, elements of plutocracy can often be observed in societies where economic disparities exist. One key characteristic of a plutocracy is the disproportionate influence of wealthy individuals or organizations on political processes. This can manifest through large financial contributions to political campaigns, lobbying efforts, or ownership of media outlets that shape public opinion. Another trait is the prioritization of policies that favor the wealthy, such as tax cuts for high-income earners or deregulation of industries that benefit large corporations. These policies often result in increased economic inequality as they reinforce the advantages of those at the top of the economic hierarchy. Plutocracies also tend to lack significant political representation for lower-income groups. This is because political participation often requires resources that are more accessible to the wealthy, such as education, networks, and funding for campaigns. Lastly, the presence of wealth as a requirement for leadership roles is another defining characteristic. In a plutocracy, the wealthy often occupy key positions in government, even if they lack other qualifications or experience. Now let's look at some examples of plutocracy. Throughout history, certain periods and societies have demonstrated elements of plutocratic governance. For instance, during the late Roman Republic, wealthy aristocrats held much of the political power. Their economic resources allowed them to influence elections and maintain dominance in the Senate. Another example is the Gilded Age in the United States during the late 19th century. During this time, industrial magnates, often referred to as robber barons, wielded significant influence over politics and society. Figures like railroad tycoons and oil barons used their wealth to shape laws, protect their interests, and consolidate their power. In contemporary times, some critics argue that countries with significant economic inequality and extensive corporate lobbying exhibit characteristics of plutocracy. For instance, when campaign financing laws allow for unlimited contributions, it can lead to scenarios where wealthy donors exert disproportionate influence on elected officials. Now let's look at some strengths of plutocracy. One potential strength is efficiency in decision-making. Wealthy individuals or entities often have access to extensive resources, expertise, and networks, enabling them to make informed decisions quickly. This can be particularly beneficial in times of economic crisis, where swift action is required to stabilize markets. Another strength is the encouragement of innovation and investment. In a system where the wealthy have significant influence, there may be a greater focus on policies that support economic growth. For instance, lower corporate taxes and fewer regulations can incentivize entrepreneurship and attract foreign investment. Plutocracy can also result in stable governance in certain situations. Wealthy leaders often have a vested interest in maintaining the stability of the system that benefits them, which can lead to long-term planning and continuity in policies. However, plutocracy is not without its criticisms. One criticism is that it undermines the principle of equality. In a plutocratic system, the voices of the majority, particularly those from lower income groups, are often marginalized. This can lead to widespread dissatisfaction and social unrest as people feel excluded from decision-making processes. Another criticism is the perpetuation of economic inequality. By prioritizing policies that benefit the wealthy, a plutocracy often exacerbates the wealth gap, leaving the majority with fewer opportunities to improve their economic status. Additionally, plutocracy can erode trust in government institutions. When citizens perceive that wealth determines political power, they may lose faith in the fairness and legitimacy of the system. This distrust can weaken the social fabric and hinder cooperation between the government and its citizens.